let's jump back to Patrick Mahomes for a second. I mean, I remember covering him at Texas Tech, and you did as well, Solly, back in the days when he was there. And the late, great Mike Leach, I remember talking to Mike Leach about this young quarterback, and he goes, most physically gifted kid I've ever seen, has got the most strength in his arm and accuracy I've ever seen, can run like a deer, and incredibly, he's got a beautiful mind. I said, is he got a higher football IQ than you? I mean, you with this, run and shoot you're doing there? He goes, absolutely. I mean, God blessed him with unbelievable resources and talent. I mean, I think he's John Elway with a quicker ability to read the field and make the right decision. He is unreal.
And that's saying a lot because I still have a great deal of respect for John Elway.
Yeah.
And I remember I was in school in Boulder when John Elway was a rookie in the NFL. And he did struggle in some of his early going, right?
Right.
It did not come to him as quickly.
Right.
And while he did try to carry a team early in his career, because he made them good pretty much right away, but they weren't able to get over the hump. They had lost 3 Super Bowls before they ended up winning 2 straight Super Bowl games at the end of John's career, right?
Yep.
So as great as John was, what we're seeing Pat Mahomes do is even greater. And we're seeing him do it so early in his career that it speaks to the beautiful mind that he has. I talked with Pat Mahomes Sr., Junior's dad, and he told me that he used to interview Pat when he was a kid, like interview him, like, okay, you're the quarterback, game's over. He asked him all these tough questions because you remember his dad played in Major League Baseball with the likes of Jeter and A-Rod. And so, they were used to being around guys who were the guys who had done it and were still doing it at a high level in athletics.
Right.
And his dad said he would interview him and ask him these questions. He said, and Pat knew how to defer. He knew how to take the blame, but knew how to defer all the glory to his teammates. Like that came naturally to him. And to think about that kind of mindset in a young man, in a very young man, his father is teaching him how to deal with the media, how to really be gracious, which I think is just a great dad, by the way, that you're teaching your son just how to be courteous to people, right? And so I just think that's phenomenal. Pat got a lot of it naturally, according to his father. Now, there was some nurturing going on, I think, with his dad, with other coaches that he had. And then even when he came into the league with Andy Reid, and he played behind Alex Smith for 1 year.
Right.
So he's always been like a sponge, right? Just soaking it up and eating it up. And now we have this wonderful specimen of an athlete that, oh, by the way, I'm sure if you were to dive deep, Dave, and ask him, did you learn a little bit from watching Michael Jordan's Last Dance? Did you learn a little bit from the great Michael Jordan about how to be laser focused, how to draw from your enemies a little bit, to motivate yourself? Everything that I've seen in Michael Jordan, that we know about Michael Jordan, I see in Patrick Mahomes.
It's a great analogy. And you look at Michael Jordan, I mean, poor Charles Barkley, one of the greatest players ever. Michael Jordan said, no, Charles, not for you. That's what Mahomes is doing to all these other great quarterbacks. Allen. Now, Joe Burrow's 3-1 against him. He's 1-1 in the playoffs against him. Mm-hmm. And if he can stay healthy, hopefully he can interrupt this streak a little bit. But I mean, that's the only guy he's got a losing record against with these star quarterbacks. It's incredible how he can turn it up at the biggest moment, And when I watched them play against the Raiders during the season, Solly, no way did I think that they were going to be holding the Lombardi Trophy like they are right now.
Yeah, it's like that's the other component that we ought to give credit to this team because I've said this all at the Super Bowl. I think we have to get accustomed to seeing teams win and win championships. But if you were to dissect the team, you would say they're less than perfect. You and I grew up on the Big Red Machine.
Yep.
Right? We grew up on the Yankees. With Reggie Jackson and great pitching, great hitting. We grew up on a dynastic team, whether it was the Green Bay Packers of the 60s whether it was
Celtics,
the Cowboys and Steelers of the 70s, right?
right?
And even the 49ers of the 80s. Those teams it was murderer's row. If you just
Yeah,
looked at the lineup, the Celtics and Lakers, there were no weak areas on those teams. That's
yeah,
what we were accustomed to. That's why they were called the Red Machine. Like it was a machine. It was unbeatable, unbreakable. And now with the salary cap, with free agency, these teams have to learn how to function and how to pull together to cover up their weak areas. That if you're not strong, and it's always been said that chain's only as strong as its weakest link. It's even more so now. There's gonna be a weak link in the chain. But as a team, you got to band together to protect that area. If it's the wide receivers, you know what you do if you're Andy Reid, like you did in the Super Bowl 58, you run the ball a little bit more, like you did with Isaiah Pacheco. You learn that you got to get the ball to Travis Kelce. That's why you saw him heated with Andy Reid. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? We're giving the ball to people who are going to fumble it and drop the ball and give the game away. That's why he was frustrated, because they were getting away a little bit from the formula they had. But you got to cover up some of those weak areas,
yeah.
and that's what we've got to become more accustomed to really understanding that teams are not going to be perfect, but they still can win championships.